Samsung just held their Unpacked event, where they announced not one, but two new foldable smartphones. So we'll start off with the big one in the Galaxy Fold 3. This third generation of the Fold has a more refined design with flatter edges and a thinner camera bump, and on the inside, the bezels are thinner as well. This is in part thanks to the new selfie camera here, which actually sits underneath the display itself. While it's not the best quality selfie cam, it's just 4 megapixels, the idea here is that it's there just in case you need it for video calls, as you still have the normal high quality selfie camera on the outer display, which at least to me seems like a trade-off worth making, since the result is an uninterrupted 7.6-inch viewing experience on a screen that's now 29% brighter than last year's. The fact that this giant screen can fold up and fit in your pocket still kind of feels like something from the future, but to date, the problem with folding phones has been with their durability. But with the Fold 3, Samsung is confident that they've made the improvements necessary to make this a mainstream device. The protective sheet on the inside is now 80% tougher than before, the aluminum hinge is 10% stronger, and for the first time on a foldable, the Fold 3 is IPX8 water resistant. And just in case that isn't enough and you're still feeling hesitant, Samsung is including 1 year of their Samsung Care service for free with your purchase. Next big new feature on the Fold 3 is it finally brings support for the S Pen. But there are some catches. You'll need to use a specialized version of the S Pen with a rubber nib in order to avoid marking up that inner sheet, and the S Pen isn't actually included with the phone. It's sold as a separate accessory. So while it's awesome that you can finally use an S Pen with that big 7.6-inch display, with Samsung not launching a Galaxy Note this year, I was really hoping that the Fold 3 would have an actual S Pen slot where you can store the S Pen in the phone itself. Last few things to note in terms of the hardware is the outer display now features the same 120Hz refresh rate as the inner folding display. It's protected by Gorilla Glass Victus, and yes, it still has that kind of weird 25:9 aspect ratio. On the software side of things, the Fold 3 comes with a bunch of enhancements like a dock that you can pin and unpin, making for a more desktop-like experience. Top apps like YouTube and TikTok are now optimized to take full advantage of that huge inner display, and the little things like animations for multitasking have been improved. In terms of pricing, well, the good news is it's $200 cheaper than last year's Fold 2. The bad news though is it's still really expensive at $1,800. But then again, this isn't just a phone, right? It's a phone that turns into a tablet, and I'm super excited about it. Now, the next foldable phone that Samsung announced is the Galaxy Flip 3. Just like the Fold 3, it now features IPX8 water resistance, and with this third iteration of the Flip, the outer display has grown to 1.8 inches, making that smaller outer display at least functional enough to control music, to read messages, or to act as a viewfinder for taking selfies, which really is one of the standout features for the Flip, since while there is a selfie cutout on the inner display, so no under camera display tech there, the ability to use the rear cameras for taking selfies automatically makes this one of the best phones for taking selfies on the market. And the fact that you can still have a big 6.7-inch screen that folds in half to where it can fit in even the tightest of skinny jeans is obviously going to be a feature that appeals to a lot of people. But maybe even more appealing is the price point, with the Flip 3 coming in at under $1,000. Now, to achieve that price point, the Flip doesn't have all the bells and whistles that the Fold 3 does. For example, you're only getting 2 rear cameras instead of the 3 with the Fold. With the Flip dropping the telephoto lens, you only get 8GB of RAM instead of 12, and the starting storage is less at 128GB instead of 256. But those drawbacks kind of feel like a good compromise for the price, considering that you still get a 120Hz display, you still get the Snapdragon 888, and you get a lot of color options. I mean, there's 7 color options in total. So I actually think that the Flip 3 might actually be the bigger hit than the Fold 3 this year. But either way, I'm really excited for both. Be sure to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on our unboxings of these phones, along with some of the other products announced like the Galaxy Watch 4 and the Galaxy Buds 2.